These are prosperous days for me. Night before last, in a speech, Bishop Potter complimented me and thanked me for my contributions to theology, and tonight, the Reverend Dr. McKay has elected me to the ministry. I thank both these gentlemen for discovering things in me which I had long before discovered, but which I had begun to fear the world at large would never find out. Returning to New York after an absence of 9 years, I find much improvement in it, a great moral improvement. Some think it is because I have been away, but the more intelligent think that it is because I have come back. But we won't discuss that. Let's get down to the business end of this toast. Our city. We take stock of a city like we take stock of a man. The clothes and appearance are the externals by which we judge. We next take stock of the mind, the intellect. These are the internals. The sum of both is the man, or the city. New York has a great many details of the external sort which impress and inform the foreigner. Among these are the skyscrapers, and they are new to him. He hasn't seen their like since the Tower of Babel. The foreigner is shocked by them. I am not. As seen by daylight, these skyscrapers make the city look ugly. They are, too chimneyfied, like a mouthful of snags, like a cemetery with all monuments and no gravestones. But at night, seen from the river, when the great walls of masonry are all a-sparkle, the city is fairy-like. It is more beautiful than any other city since the days of the Arabian Nights. We can't always have the beautiful aspect of things. Let us make the most of our sights that are beautiful and let the others go. When the disgruntled foreigner has exhausted his objections by day, let us float him down the river by night. Certainly the skyscraper has its advantages, and we don't need to apologize for it. Then we have elevators in them that elevate, not like the cigar boxes of Europe called lifts. The European lift is always stopping to reflect between floors. That's well enough in a hearse horse, but not in an elevator. The American elevator acts like the man's patent purge. It worked. As the inventor said, this purge doesn't waste any time fooling around. It attends strictly to business. In Europe, when a man starts to the 6th floor on a lift, he often photographs his family so he may recognize them when he gets back. Then look at our cable and trolley and elevated cars. They are the cleanest, simplest, most comfortable in the world, and all of them were created and conferred upon us by the New York hackman. He did it, and we ought always to be grateful to him for that service. We have a custom of erecting monuments to our benefactors. We owe him one as much as we owe one to anybody. Let it be a tall one. Not a permanent one, maybe. Build it of plaster, say. Then gaze at it and realize how grateful we are for the time being. And then pull it down and throw it on the ash heap. That's the way to honor your public heroes. As to our streets, I find them cleaner than they used to be. I miss those dear old landmarks, the symmetrical mountain ranges of dust and dirt that used to pile up along the streets for the wind and rain to tear down at their pleasure. Yes, New York is cleaner than Bombay. But I'm not here to flatter Bombay. Compared with the wretched attempts of London to light that city, New York may fairly be said to be a well-lighted city. Why, London's attempt at good lighting is almost as bad as London's attempt at rapid transit. You can get no one to believe that you rode on a London Underground road unless you have a cinder in your eye. And as for the buses, some find it cheaper to ride on a London bus than to pay board. There is just one good system of rapid transit in London, the Tube, and that, of course, had been put in by Americans. Perhaps after a while those Americans will come back and give New York also a good underground system. Perhaps they have already begun. I have been so busy since I came back that I haven't had time as yet to go down cellar. But it is by the laws of the city, it is by the manners of the city, it is by the ideals of the city, it is by the customs of the city and by the municipal government which all these elements correct, support, and foster, by which the foreigner judges the city. It is by these that he realizes that New York may indeed hold her head high among the cities of the world. It is by these standards that he knows whether to class the city higher or lower than the other municipalities of the world. Gentlemen, you have the best municipal government in the world, the purest and most fragrant. The very angels in heaven envy you and wish they could establish a government like it in heaven. You got it by a noble fidelity to civic duty. You got it by stern and ever watchful exertion of the great powers with which you are charged by the rights which were handed down to you by your forefathers, by your manly refusal to let base men invade the high places of your government, and by instant retaliation when any public officer has insulted you in the city's name by swerving in the slightest from the upright and full performance of his duty. It is you who have made this city the envy of the cities of the world. God will bless you for it. God will bless you for it. Why, when you enter the gates of heaven, the angels will say, "Here they come." The citizens who saw their civic duty and did it. Show them to the archangel's box and turn the limelight on them.